Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any public comment today? No public comment. Okay, JD. Time for the engineer.
It's a nice warm day in Page County. JD King, Page County engineer. Thank God that somebody invented air conditioning. The update went out Monday evening with a bunch of attachments. So the blades are out. We're still hauling Arbor rock to the northwest area, and they were hauling rock to the stockpile down on Northborough for use on J64 shoulders. Spray patcher continued to work on M56, patches on patches. We can smooth that up, but there'll be dust. So they'd rather have no dust than smooth, according to some of the folks who live along the road. Finished up the project immediately southwest of Clarinda. They're on La Perla. Took out a bridge, put in a big pipe. They're rocking it this afternoon and ahead of the rain, or we hope. Mowers, got a couple mowers running on the pavements. 4th of July holiday is coming fast. We often mow around the holidays. And superintendent's going to go up and get a shoulder machine from the neighboring county, Mills. And we're going to start shouldering, hopefully up on D Avenue, all the roads closed there at the bridge. North of Essex, we'll do stretch there that needs some shouldering and do it while there's no traffic. We have flaggers and traffic control while we do it on other roads, but if there's a road that's closed, we don't want to miss that opportunity to reduce exposure of our guys. Work in the shop this week includes service of 31, our sign truck, and have it. We're still anticipate a new sign truck this fall. Haven't heard when yet. The used single axle trucks still has problematic hydraulic system with the box. Still waiting on the gas pumps or fuel pumps. And auditor's office opened bids this Friday on truck, cab, and chassis. Send a bid tab with you, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on the agenda. Work continues on the Essex Bridge. They poured bridge approach today. They will pour more concrete on Thursday. They got wings and paving yet to do. And scheduled for guardrail the week of 4th of July. So our estimate of mid-July opening is still probably decent. We got wings, guardrails, paving, stripes. That's about it for that project. I'm pleased to announce that Page County made the cut on a grant money for a bridge, NE 08, it's north of Clarinda on Redwood Avenue there over the Neely Branch, next to 180th. We have it estimated at 1.7 million, so the grant would be 80%, 80% of that. 80% of that's $1,360,000 extra bridge money coming to Page County. Got to jump through some hoops and fill out some papers, but the group, there's a ICEA or County Engineers Association has a committee that works on grants, and they're pretty excited about this grant. This is a CHBP, Competitive Highway Bridge Project. We did one 3-4 years ago up on J20, that single span bridge west or east of Little Dolls, east of I Avenue. That was a CHBP project, and one north of Clarinda here will be another one.
When will you know? When do they have the final?
Well, I spoke with the administrator of that tonight. She said it's they don't call it a final list because they haven't picked the bridges that are going to be in the DOT and the cities. They've got the county bridges picked, but not the city and DOT bridges picked. So they didn't call it final. So it's not like we're going to get cut.
Okay.
We're in until, but it's not final.
Okay.
But if it is, like what year?
This is a couple years away
A couple of years away.
because we haven't been developing that project. It's a poor bridge, but there's other bridges that are ahead of it. But if that money comes along, we'll certainly use it.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. Questions about the update? The next item, I believe, even though I don't have the agenda, I believe the next item is a sign of final voucher for the HSIP project. Need a motion for approving the chairman, the board of supervisors to sign the final voucher.
Do you hear a motion?
I'll make a motion and we approve the HSIP swap.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
I have a paper here.
Okay. Yes, they are.
Sent the bid tab, or I sent the bid tab out last evening with the update, but this afternoon I handed you another one. It has another column with the one truck. So what we sent bids out for was 2 cab and chassis. And then next fiscal year, we'll have 2 truck equipments that will marry up with these tandem trucks because of the long lead time at the fabricators. So we have a decent spread here. International, Freightliner, Western Star, Mack. We really like our Macs, but we're also cognizant of the financial stressors we have, and someday I'm going to need to talk to you about more tractors, more gravels, but not to get too far off track. I'd like to After discussing it with the shop guys, I think the prudent choice for us is the International with the manual transmission, the T14 transmission. And yeah, it's $1,000 more than the Freightliner, but it's worth more than the Freightliner. And Jamie, our shop superintendent, can talk about some of the details of that right now.
Okay.
Jamie?
You're wanting to do one cab, one chassis now, and then one cab, one chassis later?
No,
Or could you?
two now.
Okay. And so this one on this side where you said one truck,
That's just so you can see, instead of looking at a price for two, you can look at the price for one.
okay.
So can you explain, this was already decided last year's budget or something, or for these two?
This is in the monies for these cab and chassis is coming out of the FY26 budget. It was built into that. And then in the FY27 budget be the truck equipment, the box and the plow and the hitch, tailgate center. We had to do it that way to tie down an open spot in the shop, as opposed to just the other way. You know, if we order a truck and a chassis, or the chassis and a truck equipment, it'll sit there and it won't come around till 27, FY27. And Jamie probably can explain it a little smoother than I did right there.
As JD said, recommending the International with the T14. It's a manually automated transmission. It's a manual transmission, but it's just important. One of the main reasons is these are both will have rear mounted hydraulic pumps, rear engine mounted on the back of the engine. And the Freightliner is a remote mount with a PTO shaft between the rear of the engine and the pump, to my understanding. And we did not like that idea because we have had trouble in the past with our transmission mounted pumps with the drive shaft coming loose, working itself loose, and out on the side of the road in the middle of winter, we're not going to be able to get to it up under the cab. It will be mounted between the floor and the cab, or the transmission up on the top. Ours now are mounted down on the side. Now the International will have a rear mounted hydraulic pump, but it will be a direct mount to the engine with no drive shaft in it. The only option we had to get away from that was a front mounted one that mounts off the harmonic balancer, and we don't like that because if you throw a belt, same situation out on the side of the road in the middle of winter, it's not an easy process to get that shaft out of there and replace it. To explain the two trucks, just the cab and chassis this year, we looked at it from a couple different point of views. We've got two trucks that are somewhat problem childs that need to go away. And we came up with this so that we could get the two trucks. Yes, we're going to have to run them another winter, probably part of the next one. But this way, by splitting it out over 2 years and with not being able to get it into the bodybuilder until the fall of 26, anyway, it'd be another year. We can split it out and still get our two trucks that we need. The two that we're getting rid of are not our oldest two trucks, but they're the ones that have given us the most problems. And the boxes on them are rusted really bad. It's going to have to be replaced if we keep them. Where the two older trucks, they have both had new boxes on them probably within the last 5 years or so. And to be honest with you, they're probably our most dependable two trucks that we got.
Right, those
They're
international.
What are the two that we're getting rid of? They're they're internationals too. Okay.
they've got the max force in them with the EGR system, and we've had nothing but problems with the EGR coolers and everything on it. That's the reasoning that we're looking at the international is to get away from that dry shaft up under the cab and go with the direct combiner. We all know what happens if the dry shaft comes loose. What damage you can do by flopping around in there.
Any advantage going with the Mac?
There is. We're familiar with the Max. Little problems with them. And our oldest one. The main issue, like anything nowadays, is emission stuff, but we had that with all of them. The Mac is a well-built truck. Like I said, they haven't given us any issues. The guys like them. You shut the door on them, it sounds like you're shutting the door on a tin can. In my opinion, I think they're a better built truck. Everybody's got their own opinions on things. And you go back, if we go with the international, we know that the oil and stuff we have on hand will work. It works with the Max. We don't know with the Freightliners if they recommend special oil in their motors. Same with the Mac. We know that what we've got on hand works in those trucks. Preferably, yes, we'd like the Max. We also see the price difference and know that that's
Like about 34,000 of both trucks.
I think your resale value on the Mac would be better if you decide to get rid of it than the other two. I'm not familiar with Western's our trucks at all, so I can't really talk about them. But yeah, we would prefer the Max, but we also understand the financial end of it too.
And their pump, is it?
It's the Mac is also a rear mounted engine pump, which is what we've got on all of ours that we've got now, and have had no issues with. Direct pumps, basically.
Somebody got decided tonight, or how soon do you get? Yes.
That's what's on the agenda.
Well, and this was a sealed bid, right?
Yes.
So we usually take the lowest bid, correct? Isn't that what the
Not always.
bidding process, you're supposed to take the lowest bid? Or not?
Not always. They kind of look at what their maintenance is and what they've had in the past.
The difference between the low bid and the international is $1,045. We've got 15 years on the trucks we're getting rid of. Trucks that are older are 2004 and 5. Those are pushing 20 years, so that incremental difference in the low bid to the recommended truck is very small, spread out over the years.
Yeah, I didn't know if there's some legality to.
No, it's your choice.
And if somebody wants to make a recommendation for the Mac, we'll take that too and find money somewhere or other.
Well, I guess I would recommend the International T14. That's do we have some of those? Or we don't have the does T14 is a newer brand or newer?
Completely redesigned transmission coming out.
So you don't have any that you can compare to?
There is a workshop on the 24th and 25th of this month that salesman is encouraged us to attend. Whether they get it or not, just to see what they got.
So that's next week.
But, when we had a international pure fleet till we started getting some Max. So we know international.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking at a premier with the Mac, basically $16,000 difference.
Right.
It's like I said, make it a little better truck, last one longer. Goals reset by. You also understand, like I said, the financial.
So is that a motion, Todd, or?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we get the international T14. And so this is to make it clear, you're ordering the chassis and the the cab and the chassis. Those will show up 2026 sometime. And then the next budget, 2027, you'll get the equipment for them.
Correct.
That be a separate, okay. So,
Salesmen to the parties can't be deferred until the truck is put in a service clause within a reasonable amount. They can defer.
oh, yeah, because it wouldn't be on the road. It's just gonna sit in the shop probably. Okay.
So what comes in 2027 then?
The truck equipment,
The truck equipment.
hitch, plows, sander, box, hydraulics.
Is that something that will be done, you could have done locally to add it on, or do you have to send those trucks off somewhere?
They do it in
Des Moines?
or our preferred vendors in Des Moines.
Okay.
So we would get that bid then, like in June again of 26, or before that, before that to get it in July of
When do
27.
you have to order the box and the plow and stuff?
Soon.
Before the budget of 27?
Yeah,
But it won't be delivered till after July.
27.
It's 27.
The big thing now is to get the order in, to get a slot in back to the fall, so that we don't have to wait. That's part of this whole process. But if we get the trucks, then we know we're gonna give you equipment, so we can go ahead and we get the order placed. So that we can get a slot, but not kind of get the trucks in. They're as close as we can, so we're not out until
So you'll have them ready for
they'll be ready.
snow.
Hopefully sometime in the winter.
27.
Okay, I'll second the motion on the floor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you. And the last item we have today is the RVM plan that our weed commissioner put together, sent to you. Looks like this. If you want a hard copy, let me know. I'll get you one. And then there's resolution 26-2025 that goes along with it. So I need approval on the plan and adopting the resolution.
I have the resolution 2625 here, 26/2025. Do I hear a motion for that?
So is this plan pretty much statewide or is this
Right, it's approved by the DOT. Every county that has RVM program would have one of these.
is this
We have
something
one.
new that you put together or?
No, it's been here for years. It kind of lapsed without a weed commissioner. Brought another weed commissioner on and has more time to work on RVM things. This will allow us to seek grants from the Living Roadside Trust Fund for equipment and seed. They push native seed things, flowers and tall grasses.
So it basically goes back to January of 1990.
Right, it's been around a long time.
So we're just we're just updating this to when we got the weed commissioner in 2024.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 26-2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
It's JD's phone, I think.
Oh, is that your phone? What are we, Tom here? Okay. 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 All right. I don't see Jeff on, so I think we've got Brian from the Samuels Group.
Good evening. Hey, I'm Brian with the Samuels Group.
Brian, we need you to speak into the microphone.
I'm Brian with the Samuels Group. I know Jeff sent out his weekly update for last week. I've got that here if you have any questions. I'll go through what's happening this week. Stickler is working on laying out and digging footings, and we'll be pouring some footings tomorrow morning, weather permitting. Team Services is set up for the concrete testing. I also talked to Graphite Construction, who their subcontractor is Signature, the Masons. We're trying to get set up to get started laying some block below grade next week on the non-bearing interior walls. Northwest Steel brought their office job site trailer on site today, and they are also working on a new bracing plan for the precast walls. Electricians and plumbers will be back on site probably next week if we start laying some of those foundation block walls, because they'll need to be roughing in at the same time. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Any update on the FAA?
I don't know if Jeff sent anything out to you
I
yet.
thought
He sent something today.
Yeah, I
Said it was
saw-
getting closer.
Yeah, it's getting closer. I think they've got some issues with their department with updating some stuff. So they're trying to figure out what they need to do with that. But I think he did send in an email explaining that better than I can. But hopefully, I know it's gone past, it's on the second approval part. So hopefully sooner than later. But as long as we're able to keep going with our interior footings and putting block on those interior footing walls, and even if they're still not approved yet, we can start backfilling on the interior around the block walls and get that ready for when the precast does go up. That way we're farther ahead in that area.
You're getting the widening for the approach. It's getting done.
It is. I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I gotta grab a couple loads of rock. I think we're just waiting on a couple things with that.
And whose trailer did you say moved in?
Northwest Steel,
Okay.
they delivered that. They're the guys that will be erecting the precast.
Okay.
So we're pretty much on schedule, behind schedule, ahead of schedule.
Jeff's got a better handle on that, but I think we're still pretty close. But I'm not gonna guarantee that either.
Okay.
We're trying to get ahead on other areas. We'd like to be setting precast, which would be a big plus, but since we're not doing that, we're trying to get ahead of, I'd say, the main area in the west side of the building. Because there's a lot of interior footings
I keep thinking this concrete's done and it's more concrete,
in there. Yeah. There's a lot of concrete to go
a
yet.
lot of concrete.
Yep.
Keep reading. I was trying to read this, it's so tiny.
Oh, is that?
FAA website has advanced the permit to final evaluation status and permitting process. Said something about the final approvals for the ordering of the emergency generator for the new building. So does the emergency generator have to go in before other things then?
No,
No, okay, just, okay,
they're just trying to get it ordered because it's such a long lead time.
long process,
So they can
okay,
get that, so
okay,
we have it when we need it.
okay,
Because we'll have to pour all the foundations for that too.
for that to go in,
Before
okay,
it arrives.
okay. 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 Sounds like it's moving.
We're trying to keep it going.
Oh.
Weather could help a little better.
I'm sure that's true with all these little showers that keep coming through.
They worked through it yesterday, so hopefully tonight we kind of bypass the other storm that was supposed to come. Looked like it moved away. So
Sounds like there's a few more coming through so the next few days. So anyway, okay. Thanks, Brian.
thank you.
Okay. Let's see. I see John Huff on here. So, John, do you have some information on us for us?
Hello, I sure do. Good to see everybody virtually this time. I hope everybody can hear me okay here.
Yes, we can.
Good deal. Well, last week I mentioned to you that most of the infrastructure for the project was good to go, but we still had some road radii being rocked, which is still the case. We do have some road radii still being rocked this week. But we have started digging foundations in Page County. We are working generally west to east. We also have the first layer of concrete pour. Well, that's been started on those foundations that have been dug. And there will be rebar setting starting soon. Now that will involve the use of the rough terrain crane. That's not the large cranes, but a smaller crane. So that'll be starting soon. But the turbine deliveries for Page County are expected to begin in mid-July, and that's when the larger cranes will arrive in the county. One other thing I did want to mention, we've seen some questions about water use. So just to reiterate, the water we're using for dust control is coming from a private well. JFE, the electric contractor, they have a contract with the city of Coyne where they're getting water, but that's for some of the electrical bores. So the dust control water is coming from a private well. So just wanted to clarify that since we had seen some things about it. But any questions that I can ask the appropriate parties and try to get you an answer for?
No, I was going to ask about that. I'd had some phone calls on the water stuff. So thank you for clarifying that.
So the water used for dust control is from a private well.
Correct.
Okay. But there's some coming from the city of Coyne also.
Yes, like I said, JFE has a contract for the to use the water for electrical bores.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 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 Any other questions for that? Okay. Sounds like you're answering the questions.
Yeah, I did have one question. So I did have somebody ask me about dust control near, I know we're doing dust control at the intersections and things like that. Has there been any thought of doing any dust control near residents that are along the heavily traveled roads?
I would say so. Let me get you some more information on the specifics to that,
Okay.
though.
Okay.
So I'll ask what our plan is kind of for that stuff.
Okay. I did have somebody reach out and ask me about that, and if that was something you guys were planning on doing, or if that was just gonna be just done on intersections.
Yeah, I think we do generally do it out in front of residences, but let me verify and get back to you with the answer.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you, John.
Thank you. See you next week.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Okay, now our next item is discuss action opioid plan. We need to, we've been asked to make a decision on the one plan, not the sheriff, but
Roger's plan. Is that right?
yes. Mhm. So we can either make a decision. Well, we just need to say a yes or no, I guess. So for Richard. So we can,
Richard, sorry. No.
yeah, so yeah, so we can go ahead and say yes or no, or just yeah. So that would be a
And
yes.
that's
yes
a
or no.
3-year contract, right?
Yeah.
It would be a 3-year
Mhm.
commitment.
Yeah.
And we did have a Board of Health meeting last night,
Mhm.
and we talked about this quite a bit.
Mhm.
They were very in favor of it. Sam really in favor of the part that he's doing in Montgomery County with some of that. And my feeling, I mean, I feel like we have two good opportunities to use that money, and there's plenty of money there to use. So I would be in favor of doing a contract with Richard, or what was it called? Resilient
He has resilient recovery.
Resilient recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we should wait a little while to see what else there is available. And just
Like-
rushing into it pretty quick.
To see what's available
I mean,
to
there's-
spend the money on, or
Yeah, there's got to be other programs and things.
I will say I had some people call about the sheriff's drug dog and ask about if and I wish Charles was here because I was going to ask him, but if I need to do some research, but there was thought that if we have a canine handler, that salary goes up because of the canine. So you would have a higher wage for the person that would be in charge of the dog. And then also, I had a member of the citizen call me and ask why they hadn't done any fundraising themselves, because a lot of departments fundraise to get and usually come up with the money. And if we could ask them if they would, fundraise, and then we could do a matching type program with the opioid money. So it's a matching deal. That was just a couple of the suggestions and the concerns that I'd kind of fielded. But I have not had time to look at that salary piece of it, so I don't know. I was hoping Charles was going to be here, but to
I
ask.
think both of them really new, so we really don't know a lot of details. Because Charles just brought that to us last week,
Yeah.
and the other one was just a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, Charles got a lot of things to work out there too.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm. I just hate to see us rush into something like, oh man, we should have done that one.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
And if that's our only option, I'm sure we could go back to them. Maybe not.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any time.
He wanted done this month.
He wanted? Yeah, there was some time restraint to that, and I don't know. Is there a time restraint for the opioid funds to be spent or used? No.
No.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm kind of like Brian. I would like to wait on these. I would like to wait on these a little bit. I do a little bit more research and see um, what else we can do.
So this is nationwide, this opioid money?
Iowa is getting a lot of money, yes.
They divided it out to the
And
counties,
they've
right?
divided it out to the states. And yes, we keep getting money, and so there's a lot of things to do. And I think there's probably a lot of coverage, a lot of things coming. And so I think um, I would like to wait.
Is there a place where these plans are out there where you can see what they're doing? Or,
There's specific things that you can do. I can give you some information.
but I mean, is like whoever's in charge of this money, are they keeping track of what the programs are? And if they're working?
The county has to come up with certain things that they can spend the money on.
Right.
Yeah. And there's just certain things that they can meet the criteria. So, yeah.
But is there a plan and say, just call it X somewhere and this plan's really been working for them, or you know what I mean? Does anybody
some-
keep track?
Some tracking of,
Yeah.
you know,
how it's
where,
working.
where you, yeah, something that can show you that you're getting a benefit from doing it. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that. I don't know that there's anything that says that, you know, if you're getting the benefit of something. I don't know.
And how long ago was this opioid money sent out?
It's going to be coming for a while.
I know, but did it start just first of the year? Did it
No,
start
it
last
started
year?
last year.
Yeah.
Started
First of last year sometime.
Yeah.
They had that settlement. And then
Yeah. It comes. I guess I don't want to get into a 3-year thing and see that, um, you know, we're getting into something and not, that's a lot of money to know whether we're getting anything for it. Um, how much we're getting for it. I don't know. And are we crossing over into Zion, into some of that also? Did
Well,
they
I
talk
think-
into that?
Yeah, we talked about that last night too, a little bit, and I think more us, he is helping them with stuff that Zion cannot do.
Okay.
More with jobs, more with work, you know, places of housing. So a lot of people won't rent to somebody that has a drug conviction or is trying to make it. So he's trying to help with that. He's working with some realtor companies, I think. I mean, it's more of a bridging the gap, filling in that gap between, you know, the professional counseling services that they're getting through Zion and things like that versus getting systems set up to help them get back in the real world and be able to hold down a job and be able to, you know, have a resume and do the things that they need to do to prove that they're, you know, can be back and be a benefit to society. So, and like I said, Montgomery County signed up. So, I mean, he does have Montgomery County now that he's working with.
Well, and one of the things that he said is currently Page County opioid settlement funds total $448,917, and we do not have that. We don't have that much money. That's double what we
Where did
have.
that total come from? I wonder.
I don't know, but we don't have that.
Okay.
So that's not a balance that we have. So I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just hesitant.
What is
to
our,
do
do
it.
you know what our
We have
balance is?
274,000 at this point.
274?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess if we have a little bit more time, you know, we can still talk about it. But I'm not ready to make a decision tonight anyway. I would say the two of us, no action and no action at this point, maybe.
Table it for further discussion.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just table that for right now. We'll move on to board communication.
All I had was the Board of Health meeting.
Okay. Evidently we had a good concert the other night here on the square. I think that there was a something that was forgotten. I believe Glenn Miller forgot to ask us to use.
The bathrooms?
Yeah.
Oh, so they were locked?
No, they were unlocked.
Oh.
They called them. We went ahead. So yeah.
On that bathroom, okay, so, the 22nd,
Yeah, we've
I
got
think
it.
is the
We've got that
cowboy
done.
church,
Yeah,
so we got that
that's done.
covered, so
That's
okay.
approved. Yeah.
Yep, and
That's done.
somebody will have the bathrooms unlocked
Right.
for that, okay.
Yep.
Just wanna
That's
make
been
sure,
approved.
okay.
That's been approved. Yes. Okay. Let's move on then to discuss action, approve claims.
Make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Unanimous. Okay, and meeting minutes from the 10th.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as stated.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in, unanimous. Okay. Then do we have a
Motion we
motion to
adjourn?
approve or adjourn?
Second.
Whatever. I'm ready to approve it. I'm ready to approve it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We approve it.
The adjournment has been approved.
The adjournment has approved at 4:47. Okay. All right, we're done. Thank you, everybody.